for public consultation. I've got keep phone calls speaking on 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 14, 15, 16 and 17.
House.
And obviously no cabinet members can just move on to item 6, General Fund Revenue Account, portfolio order, Councillor Speaker.
Thank you, Chair. So we get to the end of our first year and what have you. I'm quite pleased with this outturn. Obviously these things are always a case of two halves, like a football match, a game with two halves. We have had increased expenditure on the expenditure side, but I think for me that reflects the push we're giving to move on with projects and to make sure we're delivering the best services for the public. On the other side, of course, we've had significant increases and changes in income, particularly to look at that chart and at the bottom of 3.2, and towards the bottom it shows we've had a very much increased funding from business rates and increased investment income, reduced interest costs, very significant amounts of money. And we haven't had to use, if you'll see in the report in paragraph 3.4, reserves. We've put more into reserves. So I am particularly pleased with this situation. I'd like to thank the officers for their diligence to keep an eye on things and what have you. And on that basis, I move the recommendations in section 2 of the report. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor. I'm happy to second that. So we'll go to the speakers.
Thank you, Chair. I was criticised on social media for not criticising the Labour group, and obviously a lot of what's happened in the accounts has been the effect of having the Conservatives in charge for 3 years, but now you've had your first year in charge, so a few things I really need to raise. Firstly on this, reduced income from the MRF, Sherborne Recycling. Both me and Michelle have repeatedly said educate, 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 because the better people know what they can put in the MRF, the more value we get out of the MRF and the less loss the MRF will be to us. And we're a shareholder in the MRF, so the MRF is a massive part of our future well-being. So I'm really disappointed with the reduced income. Me and Michelle both said we need people to be informed better, and this is one of the things that it's multi-party at the moment, because you've got the Borough Council, the County Council, the MRF firm itself. So I'm really pushing that we get that recycling rate up. And I know places like Warwick are now taking soft plastics into their recycling. It's something we should be doing as well. And recycling is a win-win for everyone if we get it working. So I'm really asking, can we get that working? We have 273,000 going into the hotel bank account, it says. Obviously we have no detail in any of this paperwork how horrendous the start-up year of the hotel is. All we know is we've given them 273,000 to their opening bank account. So that's something that scrutiny needs to be asking questions about. And energy costs, I keep saying we need to be doing far more with solar panels on. Whenever we're doing something new, we should be banging solar panels on. And in these accounts, we will have about £1.5 million of electricity bill for the council, for both the housing and the general fund. Yeah, we should, for lots of things like the depot, just be sticking some solar panels on. Places like the landlord lighting, we should be going all LED low energy lighting, because it's ridiculous that some of our accommodation just has lights on all day, burning energy. So I really hope we are going to start to do better. I know it's only your first year in charge, but there's lots of things we need to drag out to make the council more efficient. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Concord. We've got any points of clarification? No? Any non-cabinet member? No? Okay, thank you. Okay, so moved, been seconded from the press vote on that one. Thank you. Right. Number 7, it's the HRA account. It's got Councillor A by it, and I think this is mine. So I'll move the recommendations of 2.1 and 2.2 out of the reserve balance as detailed in appendix 2 and whole through. Can I have a second for that? That's all right. Okay, thank you. Mr. Concord.
Obviously, the electric comments I made cut across both HRA and general account. I know we have horrendous, like £13,000 electricity bill for lights in Cleaver Gardens. So there's lots of things like that we need to actually start to work on. And it's really good that we've got the roads resurfaced, etc. But there's always a question: are the street lights around Cleaver Gardens now in the HRA, or are they now been transferred? So there's lots of questions. I hope the housing thing we'll look at. But the big thing we've got is we've got a fair amount of money in HRA, and we had the report on Midlands Today the other day about people going into our sheltered housing and cookering people, and there's lots of issues, social issues around the town which impact on our housing. So I know we've cut lots of staff, and previous administrations to that have cut the warden scheme, etc. But I do hope the HRA is having a good look and actually using some of its funds to actually protect our residents better and look at some of these social problems, particularly in places like the Abbey Ward, etc., where a lot of our sheltered housing is actually quite close into areas which have got various social issues. So energy efficiency and looking at some of the things. And finally, I must mention trees. We have to tell our contractors to take trees out occasionally. That there are some that are in totally the wrong place. They block light out, they shed branches and are dangerous. But the HRA really needs to spend a little bit of its money actually on the gardens and the landscaping to make the places as pleasant as possible. And we talk about things like suicide strategies, all these well-being strategies. Having a few well-placed trees would actually help a lot. So I do hope in future that the HRA will not keep underspending its grounds maintenance budget and actually put a little bit in just to make the places a bit more pleasant. Yeah, trees bring life, bird song, etc. And I'm really sad we've had to take some out, but we need to put some back in. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Concord. Does anybody have any points of clarification? I just want to clarify a couple of little things for you. The Welsh County Council, the Warden Service, and the street lights are adopted by the County Council and the departments. So, any non-member? No? Okay, we'll move to the second year to vote. Thank you. Right, OUTTURN 24-25, Councillor Stephen.
Thank you, Chair. The capital position just show what looks like a quote underspend. Of course, it's down to the Bedworth Facility Hub and will be phased more into next year. Capital is a little different from revenue, as you know. One of the things I've asked the officers to do is to continue to look carefully at phasing of capital projects and phasing of the expenditure of that project, rather than lumping all capital money into 1 year. You know, it's obvious that some of the big ones are not going to be 1 year, they're going to be phased over several years. And that work is happening and it's ongoing, and we'll hopefully keep getting better at that. But on that basis, and I move the recommendations in section 2 of the report. Thank you, Chair.
Yeah, we could go through ages talking about all the things on this, but the couple would sort of really stand out. One is 196, 198 Church Road.
Sorry, to just be, so I'll second that, so you can carry on with your speech. So sorry. 196 to 198 Church Road. I know both of us have had issues with this project in terms of the transparency, but I'm a bit shocked that it's spent another 16 grand on that, so maybe you could get an answer on that. On the Grayson Place, as Councillor Hayes says, everything is just lumped together, so we don't actually have a price for the hotel and know that the hotel bit is finished. Was it over or under budget because of the way it's all just lumped into Grayson Place? And the real
pain is this EV charging hub, which means that Grayson Place is actually, there's supposed to be £302,000 for EV charging points. Much of that was supposed to arrive before the hotel opened. It was actually a planning condition of the hotel opening that it had EV charging points. EV charging points are particularly good for hotels for people to stay overnight. You don't need a particularly rapid charging because you can obviously charge over 6, 7, 8 hours, but you do need lots of them so the hotel guests book into your hotel because they've got a charge for overnight. So it's appalling that that 302,000 shows no signs of being spent, and the hotel should really have an enforcement notice against it, because we said in our planning you put EV charging points in when you open the hotel. This is part of our capital programme. We expect developers to do these things. We will put on developers various planning conditions, and we actually have the money, £302,000 sitting in a bank account in our capital programme to actually build those EV charging points. So I'm really, really disappointed that's going nowhere at the moment. Obviously lots of other things about car parks are in here, and we're going to lose the car park at Wheat Street when they start developing Wheat Street Junction. It'd be nice to have some car parking visibility on here, because it's going to be a disaster to actually lose yet more car parking. I think Bridge to Living might be providing some temporarily, but there's no sort of timeline of what comes and what goes in this capital programme. And finally, the cinema. I know we've spent another £84,000 on top of the 120 to actually get to on this real local group that was supposed to be running our cinema, but have been failing to run other cinemas around the country. And I'm really alarmed and disappointed that we've paid them another £84,000. I'm not sure whether that's inclusive or exclusive of that, but we need some transparency over why that happened and what the taxpayer gets for that. Thank you.
Anybody got any clarification? Any non-capital? No. Okay, so we move, seconded, and wish to vote. Item 9, collection fund 24-25.
Thank you, Chair. Obviously, you'll see that in the collection fund report we're doing well in many areas on this. I just want to emphasise a couple of things. If you look in section 4.9 and look at the amount we collect and then the amount that we keep, I want to keep emphasising this. We keep very little of what we collect in the percentage term. The vast majority goes to Warwickshire County Council, and we also, the precept that we get from Warwickshire Police and Crime Commissioner is actually more than we keep. And I just think we need to keep bearing those figures in mind. Those figures are all set out in section 4.9. And the other thing I just want to bring to your attention, so we're not accused of not paying attention to things, I think it's fair to say that there may be a bit of a dark cloud on the horizon in relation to business rates and the way that might get reorganised and what have you. Although we're doing well at the moment, we need to be careful about possible changes in government legislation which will perhaps move money away from us, if you like, and what have you. We've just got to wait and see what happens out there, but we just need to watch that a little bit. On that basis, then I move the recommendations in section 2 of the report. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. I'll second that. Mr. Conklin.
Yeah, you keep saying you only collect 13% and keep it for yourself and the other goes elsewhere. That's true. But for business rates, it's a 40% retention goes to the borough. And we've got an issue with places like HelloFresh that's closing down and various shops that are empty, etc. So we've had a good year because of various things happening, but we have dark clouds on the horizon. This is why we need to try and get things filled up, and why you lose a bit of car parking, and then the businesses near that car parking close, and then you get in a downward spiral. So I do think we need to look at all the, and it's not just car parking, it's bus services. Actually having good transport links to places actually then it boosts the business and you get more business rates in. So it looks like we keep 40% of business rates, so it is well worth not losing businesses.
Thank you, Mr. Conklin. Any non-capital? Okay. So it's been moved and seconded. Could we look to vote? Thank you. Councillor, you.
Thank you, Chair. So this is the part of the GREENSPACE allotment strategy, based on the fact that we've moved the capital programme. I'd just like to move the report on recommendations 2.1, 2.3 and 2.4. So thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. You've got a seconder? Councillor Madison. Mr. Concord.
I've seen the full report that's not actually in our pack, and it's really good. Has loads of maps showing all the open spaces and all the various closenesses to things. So I'd like to commend the officers on the more detailed reports in the appendix for particularly green spaces. A couple of things we need to do. We've got a lot of Section 106 money that's not getting spent, which could be enhancing those, particularly play equipment. I know at Cleaver Gardens and Coronation Walk, it's totally shot, the play equipment there. So it's good to keep a look and see when we can get those areas updated to the modern standards. Buttermere Park was really nice there. You see people playing on it a lot now. So, but open spaces with play equipment is really important. And in the main report, it tells you about the benefits of the open spaces, green spaces, and it mentioned air quality, etc. It doesn't mention water retention. And our open spaces actually hold a vast amount of water. You look at Hamilton Sander Park, Riversea Park, there's lots of water in the system. And I think we need to mention the value of that as part of our parks. And I mean, Whittleford Park, yeah, it is the balancing ponds for the whole of the Western and Eton, all the water coming down from the New Development, Galley Common, Camp Hill, it all goes down to the bottom there, and then if we don't look after it well, it will come down into the town centre. So the green spaces serve an awful lot of good purposes, and I say I just really push to get some of the 106 being spent in them, and I'll emphasise how really important they are for our well-being, for all sorts of things. And I mentioned trees earlier. Yeah, suicide, mental health, all these things are always helped by having a nice set of trees, nice parkland and green spaces. Thank you.
Anybody got any points for clarification? No? Okay, any non-government?
Thank you. I instigated the GREENSPACE strategy report when I moved into the cabinet position in 2022. There was no strategy. We had nothing. The cupboard was there, left by the previous administration. I instigated the strategy, and we took our time to find the right people to do the right job. And at last, we have now got a strategy for the next 15 years. We have itemised, we've mapped the parks, the green spaces, the trees. We have mapped the whole lot, and I fully thank the officers for what they've done. The parks team have worked tirelessly with I think it's John Sheep. So I am thankful that we've done it. It's a shame we haven't done it before, and we could have been working on with this, because also it now gives us a chance now, as County Councillor Condor said, 106 money. We can now show where we can put the 106 money. We've got plans of action of where we can do with the playgrounds. Learning on the horizon in years to come, do we need so many playgrounds? Because we're having all this building and they're putting different playgrounds in, so do we need to do all the playgrounds? That's one of the things. And I built Buttermere Park. I waited till we got all the 106 money, and then we went and did it once, and we do it once and do it well. Going on with these trees, we plant right trees in right places. We've got too many wrong trees in wrong places. Got a very good tree officer. But going back to this report, I think it's a good report. We've got ammunition now to stand up against developers and everybody. and I fully commend it, and I thank the office for doing it. Thank you.
Councillor Guthrie, anybody got any consultation? I can't remember seeing where you are at, I said I can't remember you and you are that building that Buttermere Park. I'm only joking.
Can I come back? Councillor Wilson, we were there on a Saturday morning with the park staff, and Councillor, you were a councillor?
I've got a councillor then.
And it was raining, and I mean, it was raining that we dream of today. And we got soaked, but we took all the views from the residents. I was a big one, we go out to consultation and listen to what the residents think, and we put play equipment in for all abilities. That is most important in these programmes, for all abilities. And if you want to go and take your grandkids up or go and have a walk around with your wife, it's a wonderful park. Thank you.
I'll pass it back to the grandkids. Right, it's been moved, it's been seconded, can we move to that? Cheers. Thank you. Number 12 is conduct public consultation. Oh, it's wrong. Oh, sorry, yeah. 11. Grounds maintenance procurement. Councillor Hughes.
Thank you, Chair. Again, I'd just like to move the report as per the recommendations in 2. Thank you.
Thank you. Does that find seconder? Councillor King. Now, shall we let you down to speak on this, Mr. Conduct? Any non-cabinet councillor?
Thank you. I fully support the recommendations. We need to get the Eden Bedworth green spaces mapped for a contract go out for our ground care contractors. I inherited the scheme again, and to be honest, we got grass that we were cutting that wasn't the council's and vice versa, and we soon have to just take certain things out. But we need, and also the contract that I inherited, we've had 2 council officers 2 years producing this mapping system, which unfortunately they both left the council, which is not correct. We need to get some professional people with professional mapping to map our green spaces and the grass we cut. I'm a bit of an anorak on grass. It's 3.1 million square metres of grass we cut. We cut it 16 times a year, which is equivalent to 430 odd football pitches. And I know all about grass because I had my ears burned quite considerably. And Councillor Watkins did say once when we were in the parlour, "You've had it easy this year." I wish I had. But going back to this strategy, this grounds maintenance procurement contract, we need to look, and I want to go on the working party if I'm lucky enough to be selected, if they'll have me. There is other things that we need to add into this contract. We need to look at the contract for the bins, the benches, and also to put in the bedding plant contract and the flowers, because it's only just recently gone in the bedding plant, and if it goes in-house with that, there's no hold up with the contractors. So I fully support this and hope you'll vote for it, and I hope we map the borough and we get a better number. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Anybody else? Councillor Bruce.
Thank you, Councillor Guthrie. Obviously you can see there is going to be a work across party working group. It is something that is being done, fully mapped, and a lot more to do that I've asked the officers to produce so we can get a good picture of what needs to be done, when it needs to be done. So yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you. So it's been moved, been seconded. Can we vote? Thank you. Item 12. Conduct of public consultation on changes All Bank Street car park. Councillor King.
I recommend that we remove the report on 2.1 and 2.2.
Thank you. Is that fine, seconder? Councillor Hughes. Thank you. Mr. Concord.
I'm a massive fan of the Abbey Theatre. We go to lots of productions there, me and my wife, and we went to last Sunday, the Sunday before, the Edinburgh previews. So that's 5 comedy shows being previewed for something like £14. Marvellous value. Lots of people there. This car park is really well used by the theatre and at other times by the other various groups around there. And we do have an issue because of the area it's in. But I'm a strong believer actually in solving the problems rather than boxing the car park, locking it, etc. The previous deputy leader had these ideas that we have no-go areas almost, and we put security, we lock the car park. I want to take these areas back. I want them to be lively. I want us to look at parking fees, etc., to actually get more people using the car park. It's not far from town. And actually getting the police and all the other people involved, stakeholders, to actually take the area back into use by the public. I mean, I feel safe there because the times we go, there's usually a show and lots of people around. But it's trying to actually get an area to feel and look better. So happy that there's a consultation. I hope you actually take the officers who are consulting to the foyer outside when there's a show and actually hand out your consultation to people who use the area, because a lot of these consultations have 5 responses, one of which will be me, one of which will be Michelle, and then maybe 2 or 3 other people. If we want to get a good consultation, as Councillor Guttridge did for the park, you actually need to go there at the time when it's busy and say, what do you think, how do we change things to make it safer? So very happy with consulting. I want this area to be safe, well used, and many times at budgets I said let's make the parking there free in the daytime, let's get people going there, which would then help the businesses that have been impacted by the closure of the Abbey Street car park as well. So you could have a win-win-win for lots of things if we get this car park right and get the footfall in the area. Thank you, Chair.
Let's go to the end. We've got a voice clarification. No. Any non-cabinet member? Councillor Walker.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. I'm here actually because I'm a trustee of the Abbey, because I'm obviously a councillor and that's where they put me. But we all know the problems that we've got down there. There is antisocial behaviour, and we do need a consultation, there's no doubt about that. But I think this consultation is coming a bit too early, because the Abbey Theatre are close to signing a lease with the meeting votes for the council, and this car park is actually integral to the theatre. And what I don't want to happen is to do the consultation, and then in the meantime they sign the lease, and then something that has to then go back into the lease and has to be altered. So I just don't want it to be cause a delay on either side. So I'm just wondering if the consultation, if we still need a consultation, but can we delay the consultation until after the Abbey have signed the lease with the legal vote, so that we've got 2 separate things, because it's just going to move the water.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Markham. Nothing. And we've got any points of clarification? No. Councillor Brown.
Thank you. I'm no longer a trustee of the Abbey Theatre, but I was for 5 or more years before being elected. They know what they're doing. They've been running that theatre for decades. They go about it quietly, professionally. They make a profit. They know their audience. They don't go sending us shouty emails every other week about minor things. So, like some of the charitable organisations we all know send us long emails. So when they raise an issue, I think we ought to take notice, take it seriously, and listen to what they've got to say. The issues, as we've heard, are with the park. So it's up to the police and us possibly to help them solve the issues in the park. The issue isn't necessarily with the car park, which is integral to the use of the theatre and the other community groups around. even the crew uses it when they've got bands on. So we need to make sure that car park is open to encourage businesses, to encourage community use, and actually take back control of the area through positive means, rather than by locking the car park up at time and making it more difficult for the theatre to operate. As Councillor Markham here has said, the Abbey is involved in negotiating a new lease. I think it's been going on for quite a while, but as somebody who dealt with the council as a trustee, I know how the council does take a while to do legal things, and obviously we're still taking a while to do legal things. So a pause, I think, would be a beneficial thing to both sides. And then the other thing I'm concerned about is the report's a bit thin. It talks about consultation. Now, is that consultation on something that a range of options we've already decided on, which is what consultation usually means to me from the council, or is it really engagement where we're going out asking the theatre, the other groups and local residents, what do you want? It's not clear from the report what we do. So I'm hoping it's going to be asking interested parties what you want to do to solve this, rather than going back to them with an option, arranging a couple of things that we've already determined in our minds we want to do, and asking them what they think. Because that way, we don't really get the benefit of what people really think. So I think we need to be asking them, what is it you want that will help make the area better and resolve the problem? Rather than going to them with something that we've already predetermined might be the answer. But in actual fact, might not be the answer, because we haven't asked the people who really matter and use the area. Thank you.
Thank you. Has anyone got any more clarification? No? Okay, we move to seconded. We'll move to good. Okay, item 13, skilled migrant workers, policy and procedure, Councillor Seaway.
Thank you, Chair. It's been picked up elsewhere in OSPs and what have you, and I've mentioned before, we're having real difficulty in recruitment in some areas. Planning, environmental health, and legal. It mentioned legal, and we are struggling in that area. In fact, Matt tells me that an advert went out for some solicitors and what have you recently, and we had no applicants whatsoever, despite having used all the resources available in terms of salary and what have you, we just couldn't get anybody. So I want to be able to enable the officers to have everything in their power to make sure we can recruit properly. We're not relying on agency staff, as we've talked about before, and this is just one of those. There's lots of safeguards here, but I would commend it to you, and on that basis I move the recommendation in section 2 of the report, Chair. Thank you.
Councillor, I'll second that. Any non-government member? Councillor Markham.
Yeah, thanks, Chair. Well, we're not that happy with this, to be fair, but because it doesn't actually cause a problem. I know that we can't attract enough people because we don't pay the right salary, and that's why they're not applying to us. But how long do we sponsor them for? And the costs, if you go to page 104, the cost to the council is £1,500 a year to approve, £525 for a certificate, and then £1,000 for the immigration skills charge, and then £500 after 6 months for each person that we have. And then further on in the report, there's you may have to pay, or we may pay, we don't have to, but we may pay visa and healthcare charges or surcharges, which, if we pay for everything, will amount to between £4,000 and £5,000 per person. Can we not use employ local people and use that £4,000 or £5,000 to up the wages that we're actually offering, which may help them come in? So that's what we just think that this is worth and we have to use that.
Thank you, Councillor Markham. Have you got a voice on that? Council. Walsh. Sorry,
Thank you, Chair. We know there's a shortage of staff in many different departments. Do we survey those staff who are leaving to find out exactly why they are leaving? If they're moving to another council, albeit local or a distance away, is it purely on a financial basis? And if so, why can't we use, like Councillor Markham says, the monies that potentially could be spent on these skilled migrant workers? Why can't we use that money to enhance our existing salary base for those particular roles?
Yeah, so just to answer, we have tried to do things like that and still got nowhere. So, you know, the jobs are there, the money's been offered, supplements been offered, they're available, so we just need to try and get some. It's we always got stuck with like we don't get anybody and then they're like stressed, we need to get people to post. So, okay, we've moved and seconded, and we can move. Item 14, implementation of SharePoint as corporate document long-term solution council.
Thank you, Chair. I think those of you who know what I'm trying to do in central services, I'm desperately trying to move us into the 21st century on a whole range of things. I know that Councillor Croft was keen on this as well. This is part of that process. We've got a number of IT issues we've got to deal with that make stuff work together properly, and this is but one of them. I'm pleased to say that we're moving forward on something that is standard in most organisations, not bits of things all over the place. So on that basis, I move the recommendations in section 2 to the Chair.
Thank you. Is that a second? Councillor Hughes.
Yeah, I was going to actually ask about how common things work, because obviously being a county council, I have loads of IT. The districts all have different IT systems that will gradually get merged into maybe Microsoft. Will this be easy to actually put all together when if we get to council merging together? So actually it won't create us problems in the future, or the merged councils. Because I went to the LJ meeting and there's lots of horror stories about the complexities about IT and all the things that go wrong. And it's really important that we actually, if we are moving to 1 or 2 unitaries, that actually we're not signing up for a 5-year contract and having things in a different format. So it'd be nice to hear that it's all compatible, what all the other districts are doing and the county, and that we're actually going to have a smooth transition to whatever mess we get pushed into.
Just to clarify that I have issued an instruction 12 months ago that anything we do has got to be compatible with everything else. And SharePoint is one of the most common document management systems out there. If it's not compatible with other things, then I'll give up basically. But no, we will look at that.
Any non-capital? Okay, thank you. So it's been moved and seconded. Thank you. Item 15. Bedworth Market, refurbishment. Councillor King.
I move the recommendation of the report on 2.1 and 2.2.
Is that one in a second? Councillor Kay. Mr. Conoco.
I go through there quite a lot through the little market. I cook through sometimes, and it's really useful because it has the toilets there. And I keep saying at previous meetings when we talk about the market, we need to really signpost the toilets because it actually drags people towards the market, even if they're they're not going and they accidentally find the market. It'd be really good if we had emphasis on sustainable transport. You know, when people get off the buses, do they see the market? Is there a sign saying market this way from the bus stops by the curve? And it's a massive dark roof, and even in daytime we might have to have some lighting underneath the non-glass bits of the roof. So why haven't we got a few solar panels on the south side? The south side, the side furthest from the roof, if you know where Bedworth Market is, and I'm sure if you're putting them up at the same time as you're refurbishing the roof, and the electrics and everything else, it seems an absolute no-brainer to start bringing that £1.5 million electricity bill down to at least make the market provide enough electricity for the toilets and a bit of light, etc. So I'm not talking about a massive solar farm on the roof, but a couple dozen panels on there providing electricity for the market, and some nice cycle racks, proper ones by the toilets, so we can pop by the market when it's got new tenants and more. Particularly if you're starting to have events in there, having a few nice Sheffield stand cycle racks well placed will draw more people in. Thank you.
No. Any non-covenant member? Councillor Walsh.
Thank you for remembering my name this time. Well, I must say I'm pleased to see that the refurbishment of Bedworth Indoor Market is now happening. Very, very pleased to see that, because it's long overdue. Concerned about the fact that issues were raised regarding the general maintenance of the building in the first instance, for example, the electrics. Now that's obviously been deteriorating for many, many years. There's a concern that, you know, nothing has been spent on it previously, considering that the Labour group held control on this council for many, many years. Why wasn't the maintenance happening along the line? But saying that, I'm very pleased it's happening now. I'm glad you found the money to do that remedial work, and the actual marketplace has been going ahead. I would agree with County-Council Company with regards to solar panels. That would be an advantage, I think, and a well-spent money, albeit additional to the existing funding for the actual refurbishment. But one thing I did look at was, and I've mentioned this before, there's not sufficient on the diagrams we've seen here. There's not, in my mind, there's not sufficient advertising logos on the building. It shows the signage on Churchwalk side, but it doesn't show it on the other side of the property. Now we need to advertise it as best we can from all three sides that are available to the public. Like Mr. Connicord said regarding public transport passing by. If we're not advertising the fact that it's Bedworth Indoor Market, are they going to realise what it is? Visitors. So we do need to make sure the signage on all three sides of the property to ensure we get maximum footfall in it. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Walsh. What about voices of clarification? Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Can you vote? Okay, thank you. Item 16. Recommendations from OSP. Business regeneration planning, OSP. Councillor Smith, what do you chair? I know you chair something. No. Right, integrated forms for recommendation to Cabinet that the relevant Cabinet member would be asked to liaise with County Council and County Highways on a regular basis to try and improve the state of the roads, improve the traffic issues, and improve planning of road works to reduce the impact of residents. Well, this is something that's ongoing all the time, so I can't really see the point of the recommendation, because that happens all the time on a weekly calls and meetings with county, so I can't support it, to be honest. So I won't be accepting a recommendation, so we'll just move on the recommendation. So, okay, there are votes.
Chair?
Oh, can you speak on the case?
Yeah, I really want to talk about this because the county councillor, I'm deeply frustrated that the county council is not in a state to have a functioning cabinet member position for highways. As you know, Reform took over the council and were unable for many weeks to appoint to this post, and have now appointed someone who seems to be unfortunately ill for quite a few, well, almost 2 months now. We haven't seen him, and it is deeply frustrating as county councillors because residents continuously contacting me about highway issues, which we're pushing on to the county council, and it's going into a black hole. So I think the borough council does need to be writing to the county as well on this, probably to the leader or the chief exec rather than the cabinet member, because we haven't got any responses from him, and really pointing out the economic damage these roadworks are doing. I came through 2 sets of roadworks cycling here tonight, one with traffic lights and no roadworks, and then the approach to the Leicester Road Bridge is all coned up with another trench. It's almost impossible to get anywhere in Weddington St Nicholas at the moment without holes, and there is no planning, and it's causing us economic damage to the town because people from like Hinckley won't go to Nuneaton if it's so many sets of roadworks to get through, and it's delaying everyone getting anywhere doing their normal job. So it is a real problem. Some of it is down to the county council rushing through all the roadworks to get the school open on Hyam Lane for September. So there's a manic amount of power cables and sewers and stuff being put in right at the last minute, even though they knew the school was coming for the last 10 years. But I do think the borough council should be moaning about this, and moaning to the leader of the council, whoever he is in a week's time, or she, to try and get some progress. Because it doesn't happen. If you go to Warwick, you don't see this level of continuous roadworks on every single road. And it's not like we are not trying to get it changed. So we really need to get this sorted. We really need to send a message. Roadworks need to be planned so there's only one set of roadworks in any particular division at a time. And we need to point out the economic costs of this, because if I had my way, I would move county council highways to Nuneaton. Have them a building in the town centre here, and let county council highways suffer the problems people in Nuneaton have, because they're just so remote and they do not understand. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Constable. We'll go to points of clarification. Okay, I'll still stick to what I said earlier. I'll have regular meetings with the county. Council Finching only last week with Mike Fogarty. So we'll have a regular meeting in the county, and when you're leader, and then we move the county offices into here. Does anybody, non-cabinet member, want to speak on this? Okay, so I'll go from this down and vote to replace that one. Okay, number 2 is business regeneration planning at OSP. Update on projects. If they recommend Cabinet that Cabinet be requested to give their support to retaining the main St George's Hall. I think this was discussed at full council and decided not to give our support to this. So I'll stick to my last decision. Can we vote on that? Mr. Constable, do you want to speak on this?
It was just a silly idea, so I agree with you.
Oh, thank you. Any non-cabinet member?
Yeah, thank you. I am slightly, being a I feel that it is part of the movement. It's a very important thing. A lot of people that married in the town have the reception there, and they've always known it's a simple door, which hold the carnivals, dance and everything like that. And I think that's really what the main issue is. We seem to be losing a lot of the identity of it. And it was just one, stalwart of Nuneaton, like that. I feel it's just being lost. It's just a name, St George's Hall, and it's just a name, isn't it? And it's part of the legal culture and everything. That's the only point I'd like to make. I would like to see some sort of role and maintain it.
Okay, that's Councillor. So, we move the second that's right, do we? Second, and then Councillor goes in. Need to vote? Okay, thank you. Right, the next recommendation to Cabinet is Cabinet be asked to look into. Cabinet be asked to look into starting the process for celebrating 800 years of market charter status in 2026. So, yeah, I've got absolutely no problem with that. So I'll move that. Councillor A, second. We'll move to vote, then we'll debate. So, everybody happy with that? Yeah. Has everyone got anything they want to debate on that? Councillor Bird?
Yeah, I welcome this, and at the end of the day, it is a very important milestone in the market, and it can be used to encompass the regeneration of Bedworth market. It's a celebration of markets in many respects. I think that it can be a useful time to promote the Bedworth markets and put the word out there that, you know, we still our markets, and it can go into all the market publications throughout the country, and it could help attract new traders and, you know, make the market more vibrant and well, be an income stream for the council, which we're desperately in need of.
Totally agree, Councillor. So move that secondly. Through. Right. Okay, so now I've got another one, Health and Corporate Resources OSP. Fees and charges policy recommendation to Cabinet that fees and charges policy be approved and adopted from August 24 with copy of the reports attached. So I'm happy. Yes, I'm happy with that. Can we move to the second, please? Councillor Hanson? Yeah. So move to vote. Just voting and then we'll go to debate.
It's a bit like having a boxing match and having the result announced at the beginning. Yeah, Michelle, being pedantic, would pick up that it says fees and charges police rather than policy in the paperwork on page 6. And one particular fees and charges I want to have a look at is the green waste, which we're making a profit on at the moment. But a lot of people are priced out of it. I think if we are trying to have a break-even fees and charges policy, we should possibly look at discount schemes for people who are either in small houses, single occupancy houses, or how we get the fees, the green waste, to actually use more of a fair service rather than something that only the better off can take part in. Thank you.
I did actually see the police as well. Yeah, okay. Any non-cabinet member? No. Okay, so move and just vote again. Okay, thank you. And that's it, 17. Any other items? There isn't any. Close the meeting. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I don't think I'll be covering what we get council next week. I think in the pecking order of who might vote for me and things, I'm probably on the... If it was down to me on the form, I might have a chance, but I think someone else might put themselves forward ahead of me.
Any Green Councillor might get the